Hello humans of the universe, heroes, villains, and everything in between. I'm La Pokemo, and today, Harley Quinn. Now, I've sat back and tried to write this script 3 times, but a new problem has always emerged. Halfway through editing, a new idea would pop in my head. A new thoughts, a new season, a new spin-off show that I'm just gonna ignore for now. But today, I have decided to sift through my brain and make this video. So I just wanted to break this video up into the 4 different seasons because I think that makes the most sense. So season 1, this season has a strong start, funny jokes, interesting premises, good episodes, also good character development for Harley Quinn. The season revolves around Harley Quinn's independence and selfish nature. Her goal in the season is to join the Legion of Doom, and in season 2 she tries to take over Gotham, but it's more about her becoming open again and stuff. It's not like she doesn't really try to take over Gotham, she just needs to stop the other people who have taken over Gotham. But whatever. Anyways, this overview of the seasons doesn't really matter a lot because when I bring certain things up later, I'll explain them. So season 3 is about her getting control of herself and her life again, and season 4 is about putting everything set up in season 3 in place. So I actually really enjoyed this show when it came out. So what's with the title? Well, for that we have to start from the beginning. This video has been in the works since before season 3 came out, and that's because I've been wanting to make a video on this show since then. But since the end of season 4, my thoughts on the show have changed, and I wanted to tell you why. So at the beginning of this show, it's all fine and dandy. We have some interesting characters and good story arcs with an interesting main cast, consisting of Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Clayface, King Shark, and Dr. Psycho, and some cool random secondary characters like Bane and other people. So season 1 has the beginning arc of Harley Quinn, coming into her own and being her own villain. And at the beginning of the show, it's clear she's only doing it to get back at the Joker, and obviously it works. Oh wait, she falls back into his trap and gets screwed over, then Gotham gets destroyed. Now I think this is a very strong season. It's not just Harley Quinn becoming independent immediately, it's her becoming independent over the course of an in-depth opening episode, then her falling back into his trap and showing him she has moved on, like when you dress nice to see your ex so you can prove you're over them. What? Does anyone know what that? I don't even... Anyway, it feels like it would work if it wasn't about villains and heroes. But she has a support system and friends to lean on, specifically Poison Ivy, and also this shows another flaw in the character, her selfishness. So in this season, the character feels flawed. Most of the jokes are funny and the storylines are simple and well executed, which is all a show really needs. Season 2, now this season is actually my favorite season. It's mostly for the jokes and some fun episodes and concepts, and it brings some of the best sides of the characters, like Mr. Freeze. Oh, he's dead. That sucks. But this is a funny episode in my opinion. Riddler and Bane are here too, and the season is just fun while still feeling structured and like it has a point. Now before I go into my problems with this show, let's talk about season 3. Now I enjoy some of the stuff brought up in the season, like Harley Quinn slipping into her old ways of being a doormat and a complacent puppy, then ultimately being pushed to the edge in order to do something about it, and her relationship with Batman, even Bruce Wayne, and all of this. This is why season 4 is such a disappointment, not because it isn't funny. It has comedic parts and good episodes, but it doesn't expand on or bring light to some of the things I wanted to see. Like that Batman thing I brought up, her relationship with Batman, saying that she's gonna help him and make him mentally stable. Like what the hell, Nightwing died and it was Harley Quinn's fault, but because we're all anti-heroes, let's find out who did it. Gotham City Sirens. Ah yes. And yes, Poison Ivy is a villain the whole time, which I want to talk about her character more later along with other characters. So the first character we're going to dive into is Harley Quinn because she changes a little over the course of the show, specifically in season 1 and 2. So in these seasons she becomes more independent and respects herself more and actually tries to do her best to be who she wants to be, which ultimately culminates in her not being a villain in season 3 and being with Poison Ivy. Now let's talk about her in season 4. She's still finding herself, she's always finding herself, but the problem is that now it's in an aimless way with no clear goal or idea. And I'm not trying to say that she can't keep finding herself, it takes people a lifetime to find themselves. I'm just saying that there was always a goal and this kind of central idea that all the characters were doing. everything. And season 4 basically just gets rid of all the secondary characters. So we don't get this same idea from many perspectives thing going on anymore. And Harley is kind of all over the place. First she's with the heroes in season 4, then she kills Nightwing, and we have this whole mystery that she's keeping to herself, and is basically the thing we are led the most in season 5 whenever that comes out. Poison Ivy, I want to talk about her next, and I think there's a big conversation to be had in a future video about Poison Ivy and just how her character has massively changed due to the influence of the fans and Harley Quinn. But in this show, I don't really mind the personality change on its own, and obviously the characters were fit for the way the show was made, so I don't have a problem in that sense, but more in certain storylines and actions like in season 4, which is the season I have the most problems with. The show is heavily feminist, and that's never been a problem due to the comedic nature, but it definitely becomes more prevalent in this season in Poison Ivy taking over the Legion of Doom. And like most anti-hero shows and movies, it has that good guy thing where the villains save the day, although I do believe that season 4 still keeps it somewhat believable since Poison Ivy loves plants and can't have them dying for Luthor to kill Superman. And the dynamic of Poison Ivy and Harley almost always goes the same in this show, being Harley makes a mistake, fixes it, and Ivy forgives her, and Ivy is usually always in the right. There's this part in season 3 that I love where Harley kidnaps Joker, and her and Ivy have an in-depth conversation about how Harley is just being a pushover again, and in this Ivy is obviously right. Harley should tell her how she feels and stand up for herself. It's not Ivy's job to get the problem and fix it, but she always has to do that for Harley, or someone does. Like when she joins the Bat family, she's still trying to prove herself. She kills the Mad Hatter to prove she still has her evil edge, and it's honestly odd because the idea is that she doesn't want to be bad anymore, but she still wants to have this menacing identity that she's been trying to have and has never had because she's insecure. Or maybe I'm looking too deep into a cartoon, but it sort of aims towards getting to the anti-hero goal, but it sort of takes a lot longer to get there just due to the way the seasons are written and how they want the story to be. But let's talk about the biggest disappointment to me in season 4 of this show, the Bruce Wayne storyline. Now this might just be my fault for reading too deep into what I guess was a throwaway line in season 3, but I was obviously still a letdown in season 4 when I expected it. I thought Harley Quinn was going to have this storyline with Bruce Wayne, which brings us back to her therapist's roots as her and Bruce explore each other and all the things they have different and in common. It was a chance to see this vulnerable side of Batman in this team up with a pairing that I enjoy seeing, and friends and confidants, because the idea of these characters oddly fits very well together in this way, and it was something I was very interested in because it was a good opportunity to expand on this world's story and Batman so we could just know more. And my next problem is, well, the lack of side characters. Basically in season 4 there's a lack of the gang, and after us learning a valuable life lesson on how not to abandon our friends in season 1 and how we should value everyone that got us where we are, we just lose them in season 4, which sucks because they were an enjoyable part of the cast that I loved watching, and it makes the same characters and lines in season 4 less important and more repetitive, which sucks because season 3 did side characters better, like Joker, Jim Gordon, and Batgirl, and just that relationship between Batgirl and Jim. The side characters don't have to be the King Sharks and the Clayfaces and Dr. Psychos. It's just nice to have good side character plots. And by the way, this may be an unpopular opinion, but season 3 and 4 Joker low-key slaps in this show. Yes, he kind of becomes good, and I think it's actually great, but then it becomes evil again with his family, and I think because of everything that happened with him in season 1 and 2, this is just great. I literally don't know why I like this so much. It's just so unique and fresh, and this is coming from someone who thinks Joker should be pure evil. It's just a unique charm that I think this show was missing during the later seasons. And that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, is the lack of charm. When I started watching the show, one of the things that drew me in was obviously it being DC and stuff, but the fact that it can balance comedy with seriousness in a unique way that fits this character and idea. I'm not saying it's this serious and comedy balance that something like Chainsaw Man has, but the balance of Harley Quinn is a good fit for the character that it's about and makes it stand out a little more as an adult comedy in a bit of a different way. I don't think it's the most unique adult comedy, but for someone who loves Venture Bros, this just hit for me. By the way, if you do enjoy this show and want something new, you could check out Venture Bros or Robot Chicken, although that one is a little more brain rot. But as I was saying, the character of this show just slips away near the later seasons because of its heavy focus on two main characters and not the same strong sense of story. The first two seasons had it. The last two seasons just lose the joy the first two were able to capture just because of the clear change in dynamic. And I just wish more emphasis was put on storylines like Jim Gordon and Batgirl and just some unique pair-up ideas like Harley Quinn and the Joker. And going back to it, it was just sort of a more clear route, because I think what it was that Harley Quinn was the main character and then there were other side things going on, right? But I think in the later seasons, like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are the two main characters and there's like no other side things going on at all. Like, you know how in sitcoms there's one main storyline and then there's the stub storyline, like the A and B plot? This show sort of messes with that by having two A plots, kind of, if that makes sense. In a scene in season 4, she ties Joker up to a tree because he claims to have killed Nightwing, but obviously he admits he didn't actually do it because Harley Quinn did it, but no one knows that yet. Joker was just doing it for the clout. And this team up of them would have been cool to explore, like in the end of season 2, where they have a cool storyline together and it's just fun and cool. Their new identities leading to interesting storylines. Also, I enjoy the superheroes that appear in this show and how they can take a more crucial place in a story, and that's interesting to me because I enjoy seeing their storylines. And I want to talk about how the show takes DC characters and kind of picks one part of their stereotypical personality and amplifies it. And I think this works on some characters like Bane, but not on others like Nightwing. Bane is completely different on this show, but I enjoy this character and he's fun and interesting in his own sad way in everything that he does. And it's the same idea with Nightwing, but in my opinion it doesn't work. Nightwing is a self-conscious, arrogant prick who doesn't even want to give Harley Quinn a chance, which sounds nothing like Nightwing, but not in a fun, interesting way like Bane, but just in a pointless way to move plot forward and just have this character archetype in the show. So the last thing I want to touch on is my favorite season, which is season 2, just because it's linear, straightforward, interesting, and fun. We have a clear goal and a clear moral lesson, which is letting yourself open up in love again, even if it hurts, and also other stuff, but this lesson stands out in the Mr. Freeze episode. Also, another lesson is in the Riddler episode when they help Batgirl, but the idea is, in general, is that all these episodes are fun and interesting, and that just can't be said about later seasons, in my opinion. There's this habit in DC shows to have other DC characters introduced in the story and whatnot, but you don't need these cameos, air quotes, with no substance. Instead, have all of these core heroes and characters be expanded upon and made unique rather than having the most variety, which also works in season 2's story, with characters like Clayface, King Shark, and Dr. Psycho being more expanded upon and intriguing. But that obviously gets negated, this whole world we have built up since season 1, and it fits in season 2 as well, just because all the characters are Gotham characters too, so they fit the backdrop. But everything that was built up in season 1 sort of gets scoped in and minimized, with pointless characters appearing instead of just building what we have. By season 4, everything should already be expanded, and we should just be seeing fun episodes and unique angles and personalities of already existing characters. Even characters that have already been set up in a small way in previous seasons can be expanded upon, instead of adding more piles and piles of stuff. Having the core roster give a show its identity instead of constantly changing the people around the main one. This is one of the biggest reasons I prefer shows with a cast of main characters rather than one main character, because it makes all of our characters' identities and stories expandable, and it makes us know them all and feel comfortable watching the show. Like, we're always coming back to the people who we love, and that's what season 1 is for creating the roster and introducing us to the characters while setting the scope of who is important and who isn't. And like I said, even returning side characters works in that sense. Shows thrive on their cast. Now sure, that's not true for all shows. Some shows have an episode by episode basis or a season by season basis, or just are reliant more on their story than the characters that they're bringing to the table. But for shows like this, they really do thrive on their cast. Shows like Rick and Morty, The Venture Bros, are very well known for these characters. The cast stands out and we want more of them, and don't tell me this isn't the same or doesn't work, because both shows, Rick and Morty and Venture Bros, have the same layout of two main characters. Obviously Rick and Morty have, well, you know, them. But as the show goes on, we get a lot more of the secondary cast, and I'm someone who doesn't really watch or really enjoy Rick and Morty, but I appreciate the characters and the fact that they all grow and are important and unique, and they become more important later in the show. The whole family of Rick just becomes more in depth, and all the characters change and actually become new characters and things like that. And Venture Bros, Brock and Dr. Venture are the main characters. Oh wait, maybe it's the sons. No, to be honest, I think Brock and Dr. Venture fit better, but both are valid. But obviously the show expands upon its villains, its secondary characters, whether that's Brock and Dr. Venture or the brothers. They're all important and we learn and evolve on all of them, and this show just doesn't. For example, Venture Bros has the villain, the moth guy. I'm sorry, haven't seen the show in a while. Don't yell at me. And it also has like other characters like Dr. Venture's brother, which is like the brilliant scientist that just comes back randomly. But we have all these characters that we've seen before, that we come back to, and that we learn more about, and that are interesting. Now in this video you might see a different tone in my voice compared to my Barbie video. Hey, so this is future me. The Barbie video was delayed, so this video actually came out first, but it'll probably be the next video on the channel. Anyways, because I like this show, it's a show I have enjoyed, even if the seasons I have said are bad, but like, you know, I still enjoy it. I still love the show, and that's why I'm going about this video sharing my opinions rather than everything that's wrong with this show. And it's really me just crossing my fingers, hoping season 5 is better, and also just saying that this is something good and not just all bad like other things I have talked about. But that is going to be all for me. Thank you for watching. Leave any video ideas or videos you would like me to make down in the comments, and any thoughts down below about this video, and make sure you like and subscribe, and as always, stay cool, stay weird, stay you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.